Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to week 9 of general psychology. Here I am posting this video on a Thursday. So, as you know, our week 9 started on this past Monday, and I changed the homepage so that you could see when everything was due, and I made the test available as of yesterday, Wednesday. Now, on Monday, I did post a couple of things that were hopefully helpful to you, but in this short video, I'm going to go over what some things you should know. Now, this test is worth 100 points, and this test one, is the same as a midterm. Okay, we're at the midpoint of the semester, and so test one is essentially your midterm. There are 50 multiple choice questions. Okay, so there's no essay, there's no writing. You get to write when you do your weekly discussions, right? But this test is all objective questions. These are scenarios, and you have to apply what you know and solve a problem. These are critical thinking questions. Some of the questions require rote memorization, but many of these questions require a higher level of thinking. You're going to have to analyze. You're going to have to synthesize the information that you've learned from reading various chapters, right? So you really want to take this test seriously. Now, in terms of preparing for the test, I posted a Kahoot, and I'm hoping that you have completed this Kahoot. It's just a fun little game. The link is in Canvas, and it just gives you a few sample questions, a few practice questions. I will admit that the questions on Kahoot are very similar to the questions on the test, but I think the questions on Kahoot are a little bit easier. The test has a mixture of easy and difficult questions, but on Kahoot, we can only have so many characters on our questions. So anyway, the Kahoot is a good way to study. Okay, so take that Kahoot. Next thing is the practice honor lock quiz. The reason why I posted that practice honor lock quiz is because you are required to use honor lock when you complete this test. It's not optional. I know I'm going to hear some grumbling and some moaning and oh my God. Guess what? When you signed up for the class, in the notes, there was a note that said this test would be proctored via honor lock. And the reason why I use honor lock is because some students don't cheat, but there are some students that cheat. And so I use honor lock because you have to have a camera and a microphone, and you're basically being recorded. So if you try to cheat, open up another device, have someone feeding you answers, you'll be flagged. And then I go back and I look at the flagged report, everybody who's flagged, and I watch those videos to see if there was any cheating going on. And it's not a perfect system, but it does deter or cut down on the amount of cheating that happens. So this is why we have to use honor lock. I know it's a bummer for the rest of you who don't cheat, but it's necessary. Previously, honor lock was free, but as I mentioned in previous videos, honor lock does have a fee this semester, and it's $5 per test or $10 for unlimited tests. Now, we have two tests in our class, the midterm and the final. So it would be to your advantage to go ahead and do the unlimited, because even though we only have two tests, I give a makeup for the midterm. So suppose you didn't score as high as you wanted on test one, the midterm. You can take the makeup and I will sub your makeup score in for whatever you got on test one, and that would bring up your grade. So the makeup is proctored via honor lock. All tests are proctored via honor lock. So I would say, take the honor lock practice quiz. It's just 3 little questions. You can make sure your system is set up and that you're not going to have any technical difficulties. Speaking of technical difficulties, in the event that you have technical difficulties and you're not able to finish the test, this is why I offer a makeup. The makeup is offered at the end of the term, and whatever you get on that makeup will sub in for what you got the first time you made it. Now, in the event that when you take this makeup, you do worse the second time than the first time, I go with the higher of the two scores. So you don't have to worry about it being something that could hurt you, can only help you. So test one is worth 100 points. There's 50 multiple choice questions. It is timed. It is proctored via honor lock. Now I posted a practice Kahoot as of Monday. I posted a practice honor lock quiz as of Monday, and the test became available as of yesterday, Wednesday morning. And I noticed that we already had about 3 or 4 people complete the test. The scores are okay so far, but the average on tests like this tends to be a C or a D, which is pretty standard across the nation, not just in my class. If you're being challenged, this is how it goes. Now, obviously, some people are going to get an A, some people are going to get a B, and that's great. If you've been reading the chapters, watching the videos, and participating in the discussions, you should be sitting pretty. Now, in addition to the Kahoot and the practice quiz, I also allow a cheat sheet on the test. And this cheat sheet can be 8.5 by 11. So an entire page, typing sheet of paper. Okay. Entire page. We're talking like, you know, this, a notebook size, and you can handwrite it, you can type it, it can be front and back. And I've given instructions to the Unlock crew that this is allowed. So I would say the reason why I do this cheat sheet is because one, it helps you to study. Because while you're organizing your thoughts and reading through the chapter and you're making the cheat sheet, you're actually studying. Okay, that's number one. Number two, some people get a little test anxiety and they get a little flustered on the test and they're like, oh my God, and they forget things. Well, if you have a cheat sheet, if you forgot, the difference between classical and instrumental conditioning, you can go to your cheat sheet and see what it is, right? So the cheat sheet can serve as kind of like a security blanket as well as a good study tool for this test. So you can use a cheat sheet. In case you didn't know, the test is what we've been talking about so far. So that's chapters 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. That's what is psychology, the science of psychology, the ethics behind experimentation. This is a little bit about biological foundations of behavior. So neurotransmitters and neurons and the brain, different parts of the brain. There are also things about development. So what was Erickson's theory about? What about Piaget, right? Kohlberg's theory, puberty, all of that good stuff. Chapter 6 and 7 is learning and memory. And these are the two chapters that we just recently finished discussing. So classical conditioning, operant conditioning, right? You really want to make sure you have used Quizlet, you've used the questions in the back of the chapter of the textbook, you've played the Kahoot, you've had plenty of practice with answering these questions prior to taking the test. Because like I said, it is 75 minutes and that time goes by pretty quickly. Most people are completing the test in like 20 to 30 minutes when I'm looking at the averages, the scores. But like I said, I have a small sample size so far. Only about 4 or 5 students have completed it. But given the fact that this test is due on Sunday, the 12th of March, hopefully everyone will have it completed by then. If you run out of time and you can't complete it by Sunday, I left it open for one extra day, Monday, for you to do it. It will show late in the computer, but there's no late penalty. So I would say go ahead and take the test on Monday if you have to, but aim for Sunday, the actual due date. All right. Last thing I'll say about the test is that I have posted 2 videos that I think are very insightful and very hopeful, and I really want you to watch them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have posted them. The first video is by Dr. Stephen Chu, who is a cognitive psychologist and a psychology professor at a university in somewhere up north. I don't know if it's Alabama, anywhere, somewhere, not up north, down south. And I got an opportunity to hear Stephen Chu talk at a previous event. Like we have these conferences. If you're a psych major, we have these National Institute on the Teacher in Psychology, and a bunch of psychology professors come to St. Petersburg, and we listen to other professors and their research and their presentations and a bunch of stuff. Anyway, I was so impressed with Dr. Chu that I started following him on his social media. And he basically has a video series of how to study hard and still fail, or how to study hard and get a good grade on the test. And since he's a cognitive psychologist, he's giving you tips about how to, mind your mind, right? So I would say this video series is really helpful because it will help you not only in this class, but in other classes. And quite frankly, it'll help you in life. The smarter you are, the more you're using your brain, the more money you make, the more time you can have, and the better your relationships with other people. Okay? So go ahead and watch that video. The other video is a little bit shorter, and this is just by some medical students. They updated the SQ3R method of studying, and I thought that video was worthwhile, so I shared that one also. And I would say you should probably watch both of those videos. Now, the SQ3R is only a few minutes long. This Dr. Stephen Chu video is about 7 minutes for the first one, but it's a series of 5. So you could actually watch all 5 in the series. It might be more than 5. I think it's 5. But anyway, you could watch the first one, and that would give you a lot of information, even if you just watch the first one. All right, so this week, week 9, this is our last week before spring break. And I don't know about you, but I am getting ready for spring break. And we only have 6 weeks when we come back, and the semester will be over. So you really want to start kicking it into high gear, okay? Make sure you're reading the chapters, you're completing the assignments, and you're getting all the points possible. I really enjoy interacting with students. I love teaching, but I didn't get into teaching for grading. Okay, that's not why I became a teacher. I became a teacher because I love to learn about psychology and share what I've learned. And I'm here for you. If you ask a question, I'm happy to answer your question. If you ask me a question when I'm not at work, okay, you're not going to get an answer. That's like thinking you're going to go to Target after it's closed and get something. You're not. So go ahead and use me. I am available Monday through Thursday. Now, there is another assignment that's due this week, and it's been on the syllabus, so you probably saw it, and that's R1. R1 is reflection one, and you have a series of questions that you answer, just your personal opinion. You really can't get these questions wrong on the first half because you're just sharing your opinion. And then the second half is if you had a chance to study one topic in psychology, a topic we've talked about already or a topic we haven't talked about, what would it be? And then you need to find a resource, so either a scholarly article or a video or even a textbook, not our textbook, a different textbook, and you're going to review that information and then write a small little one-page summary of what you learned. Now, this is worth 20 points total for the assignment, but again, you're probably going to get all the points possible if you follow the instructions. If you don't follow the instructions, expect to lose some points. Okay, so I think that's the main things I wanted to say. How long is the video? Oh, I'm already at 11 minutes, so I need to stop talking. All right, toodaloodos.